On this game preview, I show you Rad Raygun for the Xbox 360 created by Tru Fun Entertainment. Get ready to go back to the 80s and feel the nostalgia of a game that looks and feels like a game that was created for the Game Boy. Using the scan lines to represent the Game Boy screen, as well as using the same unique color scheme of 4 shades of monochrome, and using a resolution of only 144p. The story takes place in the 1980s, and Dr. Medved has created robots to take over the world. So another robot designer by the name of Dr. Yokoi is working secretly on a robot who could save the world. If you haven't guessed it already, the robot's name is Rad Raygun, and he'll have to travel 5 different continents of the world and put an end to Dr. Medved's evil schemes and an end to the Soviet War, bringing peace to the 1980s. A lot of this game feels like most of the action-adventure games of that era, like Mega Man, Contra, and even Metroid. There's a certain part in the game where you'll come across a giant wall that you must destroy to get to the next part of the level. That wall is exactly the same as the first boss in Contra. Rad Raygun has a gun which he can use to shoot enemies that he comes across. Along the way you can find upgrades for your weapon that'll make it more powerful. However, the gun itself doesn't change, it's the same gun throughout the game. However, the gun can shoot like a mortar as you get further into the game, to shoot enemies that might be lower than you or are flying. You also find health pickups that will allow you to replenish your health at any given point in the game. You can also find armor which increases your defense so your health won't drop quickly when getting hit by enemies. Rad Raygun also has special actions as well, where he can do a backslide. If there isn't enough space for him to jump, he can use the backslide and make it safely to the other side. He can also do a double jump to get to higher places, and later in the game you will be able to use a jetpack to get to even higher places. Each enemy in the game is unique. You'll have a lot of enemies that shoot at you from every direction, enemies that fly, enemies that drop projectiles on you, and many more. There's 4 bosses in the game, and each boss has their own way of destroying you, or ways of stopping you from destroying them. And once all 4 have been destroyed, you have saved the world. Well, I have already mentioned the graphics that pokes references to the Game Boy. It features scan lines and 4 shades of monochrome that look exactly like the Game Boy's LCD screen. I believe they did an outstanding job, and I really believe people will get nostalgia when playing the game. I think another thing that stands out in the game is its amazing soundtrack, going back to the glory days of the 80s and 90s with music that sounds exactly like it was being played on a Game Boy. The second the main menu screen pops up, you'll instantly fall in love with the music, and you'll play more of the game just to hear the next music track. The game also contains sound effects which again sounds like games of the 80s and 90s. It's not the greatest part of the game, although it does sound exactly like you would expect a retro clone to be like, and for that I give them credit for. The game was great fun, and you should be able to beat this in about 30 minutes or less. Yes, it's quite short, but it's really a great game that you should play, and for its price it's definitely worth it. I did find the game to be pretty easy, but I felt it was done in a way you can enjoy the gameplay. I really do hope we see a sequel to this game, because Rad Raygun just feels like a hero you'd see more of. If you would like to get this game, you can get it for 80 Microsoft points for the Xbox 360. The game is also part of Steam's Greenlight program at the moment, so visit the link below and vote for it so we can hopefully be able to play this for PC.